Hi there, my name is Sheley Bryan. I own ReinerStop.com. First off, I just want to say thank you so much to those that have been part of our community over the last several years, actually 7. And if you're brand new, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here as we get ready to launch the new 2.0 version for ReinerStop.com. Now, this is actually the first video of a series of 3 that are going to be coming your way as part of our email community, leading us up to the launch. And with the first one, I actually just wanted to take a moment, introduce myself, give a little of my background, why ReinerStop and why the new evolution to the 2.0 version. And then I actually have the first of the 3 educational videos that are going to be coming your way. So just a little bit about me. Well, guess what? I'm just like you. I love reining, and I love reining horses. I love being a reiner. I love the challenges. I love all of the support that we have in this community, and it's pretty amazing. I actually started as a child doing the all-breed shows and the English and the Western and the showmanship, showing in like 10 classes a day. Then I got into Arabians, and that actually sparked my first reining experience. And then moving over to quarter horses in 1998 and been with reining ever since. I did do a short stint in cow horse, which I absolutely love, but I always come back to reiners because they just have my heart. So I've been through the ups and downs of ownership, of breeding, of showing. So I absolutely understand what we go through on a daily basis and why we put so much effort into being able to follow our dreams and our passion with reining. Now, a little bit about my education. I was at Arizona State. I'm an Arizona native. And then after graduating college, I actually went into the finance industry. And I was a stockbroker. I was a financial advisor. I worked with UBS for just shy of 3 years. I built up my book of business by doing the old school stuff, right? I was making cold calls every day. I was going out on appointments, closing the business, working with my clients, and managing their retirement accounts to meet their needs going forward. And that's one of the things that I think really separated me is, at the time I was a financial advisor, the market was at 8,600. So think about that versus right now. It was a very challenging time, and that's one of the things that I did differently is I listened to what my clients needed, and I was able to work with them, create strategies to move them forward to meet their goals. And that actually led me into a new career. I moved into the medical industry, and I worked in sales and marketing in the medical industry for the last 15 years. And I did that with 2 different organizations. And the one thing that came out of it that I am so grateful for is the absolutely amazing education that I received. That education, as far as sales and marketing, really helped fuel my passion for sales. I absolutely love sales. I love the strategy behind it. I love the tactics that you can do. I love how you can really affect someone's life positively by what you're able to bring, whether it's a product or a service. And I think that it is something that either you love sales or you hate sales. I'm definitely a love sales person. I love creating the relationships, and I love meeting the needs of those that are out there. And during all of this time, I've been riding reiners. Why I've been working so hard, so I can fuel my addiction and be able to pay for it. And I think there's many non-pros out there that are just like me, right? We have our businesses, we have our jobs so that we can enjoy our reining horses. And, back in 2010, I actually was in the breeding, and I had just begun doing a little bit of breeding. And one of the things that I realized is that I was having a lot of trouble finding ways to sell. Is that, social media was still relatively new at that time. There was only Facebook. Not everybody was using it. It was very interesting. There were some websites, but they were all breeds, all disciplines, not specific to reiners. There was definitely word of mouth. Some horses that were in training, I worked with my trainer so that we could together sell them if we needed to, and or buy one if I needed to. But as a seller, I didn't have many avenues to be able to sell and market my horses. And that's one of the things that I have absolutely learned is that you must diversify your efforts if you want to be successful. So focusing solely on one avenue isn't going to get you the results as fast or maybe find you the right buyers, or maybe not meet client needs. And so I knew I had the tools and the knowledge to be able to create something to help not only myself, but help others be able to help our industry buy and sell more horses more easily. And as being a non-pro, I also wanted to be involved. I wanted to be involved in the buying and selling process, work with my trainer if I was working with my trainer at that time. And then with social media, I did recognize that there were some limits, and this is true today, is that we actually don't own our pages, our business pages. We don't own that content. Actually, the social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or whatever you're using, they own the content and they can censor it, they can turn it off, they can, based upon the algorithm, you might not reach the right people. Yes, you can do paid ads, but how effective? There's a lot of different challenges that are now way more present than they ever used to be back when I started the ReinerStop page back in 2012, and we launched the first version in Q1 of 2013. The evolution of social media has absolutely changed. Now, it is something that we need to incorporate, but we can't depend on it solely. And that's what I saw back when I created the ReinerStop.com original version, is I wanted to create a place to connect both buyers and sellers together of high quality reining horses in one centralized location. And that is exactly what ReinerStop did. It was amazing seeing the connections between stallion owners, non-pros, open riders and trainers, and open buyers. They don't want to ride, but they just want to buy. But there was a connection being made that wasn't there before. And it definitely was new to the industry and maybe a little bit sticker shock. But I think once more and more got used to it and saw it as this valuable tool, it absolutely took away and helped a lot of people. And that's what was my ultimate goal. Now with 2020 has absolutely hit us. It's hit us in all different ways. It has been challenging, to say the least. And those businesses that pivot and innovate, and the people that pivot and innovate move forward with it, with a future mindset, are the ones that are going to win. And I looked at ReinerStop and I'm like, you know what? This isn't going to meet the needs right now, nor is it going to meet the forecasting needs that I see and that I've been reading about more and more as far as technology and the tools available. That's why the 2.0 version has now come out. And back in 2016, I did do a facelift on ReinerStop. I added a few new features to make it more usable, but this was different. Right now, what we're all going through is different, and I needed to create a brand new site, not just give the previous one a facelift. That's why it's taken me a little bit longer than I anticipated, but it's going to be well worth the extra time, because it's going to be a tool that I know that you guys will be able to use. Now, let's go ahead and kick off into the first educational video. These videos are actually going to be coming based upon data that I received back from a survey that I sent out. So if you participated in the survey, whether you were in our email community or online in our social media platforms, I just got to say thank you. You taking that 60 seconds to fill out the survey provided us with valuable information so that we could not only make 2.0 as best as it could be, but we could also create some additional value added features for our ReinerStop community. And you will see that coming forward. The 2.0 version, the website coming out, that's going to be the first step. And then you'll see more value added items coming shortly, strategically. Trust me, they're going to be amazing. I cannot wait. I'm so excited for those. But back into my first video, and the first one that I heard loud and clear as a challenge was being able to find the right buyer. Is that I can't find buyers. I kept hearing that through the last 7 years of ReinerStop. I hear it now on social media. I hear it from the survey, is I can't find the right buyers. And so that spurred this first video of understanding your buyer motivators. It's very interesting, regardless of the industry, right? Whether it's finance, medical, horses, donuts, it doesn't matter. The buying process, the selling process is still very, very similar, and you just make small changes based upon industry needs. But the main key point is understanding your buyer motivators. If we don't understand those motivators, we can't create a message that will resonate with that buyer for them to make a purchase. And the first thing that you need to understand is that buyers buy based upon feeling, or a future feeling that that product or service may give them, or a transformation that that product or service may get for them. Sure, there's absolutely buyers in our industry that buy based upon business, right? 100% business decision, easy. But a lot of buyers are emotional, and it's a feeling, or that future feeling that I'm talking about. So I actually want you to think about that. I'm going to share my experience real quick, but I want you to think about that last horse that you bought. Whether you were an owner and your trainer had the best prospect, and you had that future feeling of being able to watch your prospect go through that gateway of champions in Oklahoma City, right? Feeling the pride of that horse. Or whether you're a non-pro like me, why did you buy that horse? So my example that I'm going to share is actually the last horse that I purchased. It was a Derby horse. And I wanted a horse that could take me to the next level, right? I wanted to be able to be very competitive when I went in the ring. But what was more important to me is that I had owned a few horses that kind of hurt my confidence a little bit. And so I was looking for that horse that was going to be a confidence builder. I was looking for that horse to help rebuild my confidence when I showed. So good-minded. I was hoping that I could feel confident when I go in there, put my hand down and go show, and go try to leave nothing on the table, when I walked out of the pen after showing. And so it didn't matter to me. It didn't matter as far as color. I didn't really matter about age. I knew Derby horse. I didn't matter breeding. It didn't matter whether it was a mare, gelding, or stallion. I just needed a horse with a great mind that could help me rebuild my confidence so that I could go to the next horse after that, and then go to the next horse after that. So that's what was my transformation. And if you look back, I bet you had a transformation or a future feeling that you were hoping to get with that horse as well. So that's something that I'm actually going to just dive in here a little bit, and I'm going to have some fun and use a different example outside of horses, but to help kind of drive home this future feeling or this transformation that buyers are looking for. So I want to look at 3 different types of cars, okay? The first car is going to be a Ferrari. Second one is going to be your Ford truck. We'll just call it a dually, Ford dually. And then a minivan. I'm sure as owners, we've probably had one of these, or breeders or trainers. You can look in your barn and be like, oh yeah, I've got some Ferraris, I've got some dualies, I got some minivans. All these horses out there can all meet different types of needs based upon the buyer, okay? So when I look at a Ferrari buyer, think about a Ferrari buyer. What's the first thing that comes to your mind? We have a lot here in Scottsdale, okay? And what I see is someone that wants to be super cool, right? They want to be cool. Maybe that was a goal that they had as a child, and they're so prideful that they work their tail off their whole life to be able to go buy that Ferrari. Maybe they want the slick feeling of the leather seats and the big engine and the fact that they will always be first off the line, right, at a red light. And for that, they're willing to give up maybe some usability, functionality. They're willing to pay a little bit more for that cool, prideful feeling. But that is the overall feeling that a Ferrari owner is looking for. And we'll just call that like power and maybe a cool feeling, okay? Then now let's look at our dually, right? Most of us have either been a dually, owned a dually, or seen dualies all the time being in the horses, right? When I think of a dually, I think of dependable. I think if I'm buying a dually, I need to know that when I turn that thing on and I got to go to my next horse show, it's going to run. And it's going to run with no problems because I have a lot of horses behind me. I want to know that it's going to get me there and home. I want to know that if I have to run to town, I can hit up Home Depot and pick up everything I need. I can also go to Costco at the same time. I can pick up my family and then come home. So it's very usable, it's dependable, and it makes me feel safe. It makes me feel safe about my horses that I'm hauling. So I would say for a dually, the overall feeling that I'd buy for it is number one, dependability and usability. My marker is dying. Depend and then use. So very easy to use, especially in our industry with hauling horses. Now with that dually, you might be giving up some ease of use for normal things. When I say normal, like going to the grocery store. Here in Arizona, our parking spots, or in Scottsdale, our parking spots are not the largest. So typically if you've got a dually, you got to park out a little bit. It's not always fun when it's 115 and you got to walk far to the store. Maybe you can't make it through a drive-through, you can't fit, right? And you got to realize an oil change might be a little bit more than a typical car or a typical truck. You know, you got to buy 6 tires now, not 4 when you're going to replace. So there's some expense, but the weight and balance of that is you're getting that dependable truck. Now looking at a minivan, I don't know about you, but the first thing that I think of is family. I think of a mom or a dad picking up the kids from school, or the dad, you know, soccer dad. He's got 10 soccer balls in the back, plus the whole team, plus the dog. And they can all fit in there, and it's super easy. And you slide those doors, everyone's in, out. You can hit up the grocery store very easily, plus have your whole family in there. You can get everyone your luggage, and you can go on the road and know it's gonna get you to where you gotta go on that road trip, on that family road trip. You know, and with the minivan, maybe you're giving up. I mean, some of them are pretty fancy now, but maybe you're giving up a little bit of the cool feeling, right? I mean, the Ferrari driver versus the minivan driver, it's definitely a different mindset on why they're typically buying them. But the nice thing about a minivan is it's very easy to replace. It's low maintenance. And you keep it oil change, you're gonna run that thing forever, and you put lots of miles on it and it will keep going. But the main feeling of buying a minivan is that ease of use. It is so easy to be in your day and be able to do that if you have a large family. So we're gonna go with easy. So 3 different types of products, which we have very different types of products as well with our sale horses. These buyers are all very different. So if I'm a marketing company and I'm gonna come out with a commercial and I talk about, and if I just wanna blanket my commercial, right, for all car owners. And I'm like, oh yeah, this car is dependable. This car you can fit your family in. You can run all your errands at once. You can take it on long road trips. You can do anything with it, right? Now, if I blanket that statement to everybody, it will only hit 2 out of my 3 products. Because yeah, okay, it's dependable, it's easy to use. That falls into the dually and the minivan scenario. My whole family can fit in it. I can go on long road trips with it. But if I'm a buyer of Ferraris and you're telling me I'm gonna take this thing on a road trip and I can fit my whole family into it, I'm gonna be like, you're crazy. No, that doesn't work for me. So that's where the difference is in understanding your buyer motivators and the feeling and the transformation that they're looking for, is so that you can tailor your message on your products accordingly. And products, when I say products, I mean your horses, your sale horses. They're all different and they can all meet a wide variety of buyers' needs, but we need to understand why those buyers are buying first, and then we can make those correct matches. So I hope that this fun thing with the car from a Ferrari to a minivan just helps that resonate a little bit more on why it's so important to understand your buyer motivators. Now here's the kicker. If you don't know your buyer motivators, you have someone call you, what's the easiest thing you can do? Ask questions. Ask questions to understand what they're looking for. Hey, tell me about the horse you have right now. Hey, are you looking to keep the horse in training? What's your future onset with reining? What do you want to accomplish in the future? How much experience do you have? Do you want to keep this horse in training or take it home? There's so many different things that you can uncover. Now, we don't want to ask a million questions where they feel like, oh my God, I can't answer all these questions. But you can ask a few questions to uncover what their motivators are and what they're looking for. And then you can just clarify, oh, it sounds like this is what you're looking for. Is that right? Yes, and then you're able to move. And whether the horse that they called on is the right match based upon their motivation, great. If not, hey, I've got this other horse, or hey, my friend or my client or this trainer has a horse that I think is going to meet your needs. But we need to understand those buyer motivators to be able to make those connections. Now, the next thing that I would recommend doing after you understand those buyer motivators is doing an unbiased evaluation on your inventory, your sale horses. And if you're going to ask a non-pro, right? Very hard for us to do sometimes because we love these horses. I know it is for the trainers as well because they love their horses as well, but we love these things and we think they can do no wrong. Well, the challenge is that we want to be unbiased. So it's always great to work with a peer or your trainer or the breeder or whomever and really get an unbiased evaluation of your horse so that you can share any of the abilities that it has or maybe a couple gaps that the horse has. So you are just effectively communicating what that horse can offer and what you're to make the match on if it is the right buyer based upon their motivators. Now, the ultimate goal here is to find the right buyers for our horses and make those connections. And it's so important to take this extra time to do that because the last thing any of us want is a call being like, oh, this horse really isn't what I wanted. And that's when you can sit back and go, okay, maybe I didn't do enough, information digging on the buyer to make sure I got them the right horse. And I do think it is a two-way street, right? The buyer needs to understand what they're really looking for as well. So that's the first step in these educational videos is understanding those buyer motivators. 3 things that I would like you to just remember to take away from today is that buyers typically buy based upon a feeling or a future feeling or a transformation that they're looking for. So keep that in mind. That the other thing to keep in mind is don't be afraid to ask questions. Understand what they're looking for and make sure that you clarify so that you can make those correct matches. And then last but not least is don't forget to do that unbiased evaluation, okay? Do that unbiased evaluation of your sale horse inventory so that when you do get calls, you can make sure that you create the most matches possible based upon your buyers. So thank you so much for joining me today. I do understand that there are some other challenges. Trust me, I heard those loud and clear in the surveys, and actually that will bring me to my next video that I'll be sharing out shortly, but that's on tire kickers. And I know that tire kickers can be frustrating. It's frustrating in any industry, okay? And I do have some tips and tricks that I'm going to share with you as we get ready to launch the new 2.0 version to help minimize. I can't say we're gonna eliminate tire kickers 100%, but I can guarantee that we will minimize those tire kicker calls, and so that you're not wasting any time and that you guys are staying busy, whether you're working your job, taking care of your horses, or training, whatever you're doing, it will save you time. But thank you again for joining me, and we'll see you soon on the next video.